In the quiet, snow-capped landscapes of Norway, a chilling mystery emerged in 1970 that would baffle investigators and capture the public's imagination for decades. The discovery of the Isdal Woman's charred body in the Isdal Valley near Bergen marked the beginning of one of the country's most perplexing cold cases. Who was this woman, and how did she end up in such a remote location? Despite numerous investigations, the truth remains elusive, leaving behind a web of intrigue and unanswered questions. On November 29, 1970, two hikers exploring the Isdal Valley stumbled upon the charred remains of a woman. Her body lay at the foot of a cliff, partially hidden among rocks and trees. The initial assessment suggested that she had died from a fire, as her body was severely burned. The authorities were called to the scene, and upon further examination, they found that her belongings, several items of clothing and personal effects, had also been burned. When investigators arrived, they began to piece together the details surrounding the case. A forensic examination revealed that the woman had been dead for several days, and the circumstances of her death raised immediate concerns. What could have led to such a violent and mysterious end? The investigation into the Isdal woman's death quickly became a high-profile case for the Norwegian police. They set out to identify her and uncover the circumstances that led to her demise. Initially, investigators had few leads. The woman had no identification on her and was dressed in clothing that offered little information about her background. One key detail stood out. The woman had several labels on her clothing cut out, suggesting that she wanted to conceal her identity. This discovery led the authorities to suspect that the woman was attempting to remain anonymous for a reason. The police also discovered a small quantity of unidentified pills near the body, which added to the suspicion that her death may not have been accidental. As detectives delved deeper, they combed through missing persons reports, hoping to find a match that could reveal her identity. Days passed, and the investigation yielded little information. Authorities released a description of the woman to the media. She was estimated to be between 25 and 40 years old, approximately 165 centimeters tall, with dark hair and a slender build. Despite extensive coverage, no one came forward to claim her or provide insights into her identity. As investigators reviewed the items found with her body, they uncovered a series of intriguing clues. Among her belongings were a few pieces of jewelry, a gold wristwatch, and a pair of sunglasses. The labels on her clothing had been cut out, but some items bore the name B.R., leading investigators to wonder if this was her initial or perhaps an indication of her connection to a particular brand. The clothing itself indicated that she had traveled frequently. It was of various European brands, suggesting that she was not a local resident. Police began to explore the possibility that she was a foreign tourist. As the investigation progressed, the Norwegian police sought assistance from international agencies, particularly Interpol. They hoped to connect the woman to missing persons cases across Europe. The lack of identifying information, however, made this a challenging task. Then, a breakthrough came. A few days after the discovery, a woman came forward claiming she had seen the Isdal woman in Bergen shortly before her death. She reported that the woman had been accompanied by a man who seemed suspicious, leading authorities to believe that she might have been involved in a complex situation. Additionally, witnesses began to emerge, recalling having seen the woman in various locations around Bergen. Some described her as behaving oddly, while others noted that she often seemed anxious. This behavior raised further questions about her identity and circumstances. As investigators continued their efforts, they found another puzzling clue, a notebook containing mysterious codes and cryptic messages. The notebook, discovered among her belongings, had pages filled with notes written in different languages, including German, French, and English. Some of the notes appeared to be travel itineraries or lists, while others were indecipherable. This discovery added to the mystery surrounding her identity. Was she involved in espionage? Did she have connections to individuals who wanted to remain hidden? The notes sparked speculation that the Isdal woman might have been living a double life, perhaps linked to intelligence or criminal activities. Despite the growing intrigue, authorities still struggled to identify the Isdal woman. They enlisted the help of forensic artists to create a composite sketch based on witness descriptions, and these images were widely circulated in hopes of finding someone who recognized her. Months passed, but the case remained cold. The media continued to follow the story, capturing public attention and raising questions about who the Isdal woman really was. Speculation ranged from theories of espionage to possible connections with organized crime. Authorities also sought help from the public, releasing information about her physical characteristics and clothing, but the response was minimal. As the winter turned to spring, investigators were left without solid leads, and the case slowly faded from the headlines. As time went on, various theories emerged regarding the identity and fate of the Isdal woman. Some speculated that she was a spy, possibly connected to the Cold War tensions of the era. Others suggested she might have been involved in a criminal organization or had a troubled past that led her to seek anonymity. One theory suggested that the Isdal woman had been involved in illegal activities related to drug trafficking. The discovery of the pills near her body fueled this speculation, leading some to believe she may have crossed paths with dangerous individuals. Another theory posited that she was a victim of human trafficking. The circumstances of her death and the absence of her identity raised concerns about the possibility of foul play. Some investigators wondered if she had been killed by someone she had trusted, or if she had been the target of a more sinister plot. In 1971, authorities received a tip that reignited interest in the case. A local resident came forward claiming to have encountered a woman matching the Isdal woman's description at a hotel in Bergen shortly before her death. This woman had checked in under a different name and had exhibited unusual behavior, leading the resident to believe she might be connected to the case. The police followed up on this lead, and they found that the woman had been in contact with several suspicious individuals during her stay. However, the investigation was hampered by the passage of time and the loss of key evidence. As the years passed, the case of the Isdal woman became a topic of discussion in true crime circles and among amateur sleuths. In the early 2000s, Norwegian authorities decided to revisit the case, launching a renewed investigation in hopes of uncovering new leads. With advancements in forensic technology and techniques, detectives began to analyze the evidence once again. One of the most promising avenues of inquiry was the DNA analysis of the remains. The forensic team sought to extract DNA from the Isdal woman's remains to compare it with databases of missing persons across Europe. This new approach offered hope that they could finally identify the woman who had haunted Norway for decades. While the case remains unsolved, the legacy of the Isdal woman endures. She has become a symbol of the many unsolved mysteries that exist in the world, reminding us of the fragility of life and the stories that go untold. Her case has inspired documentaries, articles, and even fictional adaptations, ensuring that her story continues to resonate with audiences. In Norway, the Isdal woman has become a part of the country's folklore. The Isdalen Valley itself has drawn curious tourists and true crime enthusiasts, eager to explore the area where the mystery began. The valley, with its haunting beauty, serves as a fitting backdrop for a tale that combines tragedy, intrigue, and a search for identity.